Thanks for tuning in to the MMA podcast. It's the last day of February 28th, 2013. Real busy with the UFC. We had a card last week, UFC 157. We saw the first women's fight in UFC history, Ronda Rousey getting that belt, I guess technically defending it. You got UFC on Fuel 8 this weekend. Actually, a lot of good cards coming from that. As always, guess that tweet, our boneheads, the news. Let's get into it. Big thanks to everybody listening in. You guys are the ones who keep this going. Shout out to our partners, MMA Mental. We got Ray and Patrick here from MMA Mental representing. We got Ramses from Word on the Street. We have Jay, who used to be on MMA Mental, representing the MMA Playground. We got Chris, ladies and gentlemen. He's back from his fucking sabbatical. He's doing work. He is tearing it up. How is everybody doing? Or actually, no. First, we got to do our little plugs. MMA Roundtable every Thursday, 7 to 9 Eastern, 4 to 6 Pacific. Ray, what's going on with MMA Mental?
Yeah, check us out. We've had loads of interviews again this week. So I'll be publishing the show for this week tomorrow. We spoke to Ulysses Gomez. He talked to us about being cut from the USC and how he found out on Twitter, which I thought was pretty harsh. I've got a couple of interviews booked for tomorrow. I've got Invicta fighter Laura Sanko. I've got Kim Couture, should be an interesting chat. We're working on a few others. I don't know who else we're going to get, but we are working on a few. I know Patrick's working on a few for us. And also, we covered a local event in Coventry, and I've been speaking to quite a few of their fighters. There were some really good standout fights on there, so I'm going to be putting all their interviews on this week's show as well, so it's definitely worth checking that out.
Check it out. Ramses, what's the word on the street?
Let me tell you something, Jake. Thanks for having me on here. Look, guys, every one of us, every guy listening to this show on this panel here had their heart broken. You lost the girl that you really loved, your first true love. She left you, broke your heart. And let's face it, it happened because you weren't man enough to make her happy. That's the bottom line. If you want to change all that and change your life, start getting laid again, maybe find the woman in your dreams, you follow me on Twitter, the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. Word on the street, your life will change forever.
Damn, powerful words. Word on the street. And finally, Jay, what's going on with the MMA Playground, man?
Well, it's all going well. You've got to get your picks in for this weekend. I mean, we have a fantastic card coming up. I know that we'll talk about it later on this show. But if you think you can beat any of us, me, Ray, Jake, Dave, if he's on the show, if you think you can beat us, just go to MMAplayground.com and chat with us. And yeah, we'll smack talk you smack talk us, and we'll talk about some sexual related things and see how it goes.
We'll talk about each other's private parts a lot. Yeah, MMA podcast, that's every Friday, 9 to 11 Eastern, 6 to 8 Pacific. Haven't had guests the last couple weeks, but I actually clip out those interviews, put them up on our YouTube and iTunes feed. If you want to check out any past interviews we've had with guys like Chris Lieben, Ben Askren, John Anik, Michael Schiavello, Lenny Hart, Darren Cruikshank, we had him on twice. Fun interviews with a lot of fun fighters. It's really kind of cool how it seems like everybody we've had on the show is really outgoing and willing to chat with us. If you want to talk with us tonight, I don't think we're going to be opening up the phone lines because we do have a full show. We got 6 of us on. Don't want to get things too muddled, but you can tweet us at the MMA Podcast or MMA Mental. We'll read your tweets on the air. Obviously, visit us at the MMApodcast.com, MMAmental.com, MMAplayground.com. Yeah, Chris is back. Chris, how are you doing? How is everybody's day going? I'll pass it off to you, the best of the West, Chris Lowenstein.
I may not be the best. I mean, you got to remember, Patrick here is one of us Westerners, and he's a fantastic individual. I just want to thank you guys for having me back. It has been a while. I had to go out there and find that fire again and had to see the world. I became a falconer. I got hang glided with that chick from Precious. I taught the Dalai Lama how to fence. It's been quite a run, gentlemen. It's been quite a run, and I return to you with more of a strong effort and a stronger mind. So doing good today, man. Just building a new PC, and really excited to be back with you fine gentlemen.
Jay?
First of all, I want to say thanks a lot to Jake for having me on the show, and I hope, Chris, you don't mind me kind of filling in your role filling in your spot whilst I was here. And I also want to give a thanks to Ray for giving me the opportunity. However, I managed to pick up the flu this week, so things aren't too good. It might be AIDS, you're never really sure, but I hope it's the flu.
Jay, if you got AIDS, what you need to do is follow the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. All your problems will be solved.
I really did.
As for me, okay. Well, then nobody's got AIDS then. Chill out, man. Just go drink some Zions, man. My day's going pretty good. Earlier today, it's my day off, so I just got so stoned I figured out who did 9/11. Later on, I got a Craigslist hooker coming over. It's going to be good times.
I want to know if Rams has got paid for saying he's drinking Zions. And how much did he get paid?
That's my business, you filthy UK rat.
He got paid more. Jesus Christ! I can confirm he did get paid more than Nashawn Burrell did for fighting on the Facebook prelims. Patrick, what's up with you, man?
Hey, not much is happening. Things are going excellent, though. Just doing big things. Very excited for Bellator tonight. Got the big MMA Playground Secondary League combo card coming up. Ray and I are going to have another beautiful episode of MMA Mental tomorrow. Everything's going beautiful, man. Cannot complain.
And I forgot to ask, you missed the show a couple weeks ago doing Valentine's Day with the missus. Did you make her poop?
Figuratively speaking, and with delight, yes. It was a good time, you know. Who doesn't love Valentine's Day? Except for, well, potentially, I don't know, the single and bitter, which
single people.
We've all been there.
That's me.
Is she 2 weeks pregnant?
What's that?
Is she 2 weeks pregnant?
Subtle.
Sir, you'll have to repeat that for me one more time.
Did you impregnate her on Valentine's
Is
Day?
your lovely wife 2 weeks pregnant?
Did you fuck your wife on Valentine's Day?
Did you give her anal? I'm confused here.
You know, that's a real bad line of questioning. We don't want to go down that road. Let me just say, you know what? Let's have a round of applause for Chris for being back. That's how I'm feeling it. I'm so stoked that Chris is back.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's nice to know that I'm loved. I love you guys too.
We gotta give Patrick a little bit of heat for being the only married guy on the podcast, but he probably is the most mature at the same time. We will move on. UFC 157. I'm sure Patrick is very happy. We're moving to a new topic. Robbie Lawler led off the main card in a welterweight bout. And I'm kind of embarrassed because we all talked a lot of shit on Robbie Lawler last week, saying he pretty much did not have a chance to get past number 8 Josh Koscheck. I think one or two of you maybe stood up for Robbie Lawler. I forget who did exactly. I was goddamn higher than the national deficit. I was higher than the goddamn national deficit. But yeah, what did you think of the fight? What do you think's next for Lawler? Koscheck slipping, really kind of getting sent down those welterweight ranks like his ex-teammate John Fitch. What did you guys think, Jay?
First of all, as I said last week, I thought Koscheck was going to destroy Lawler in this fight. I didn't understand why this fight was taking place in terms of Lawler's rankings in the division. I thought Koscheck is a fantastic fighter. I thought he was going to win that fight. I got shocked. And I was absolutely surprised and I was gutted. I really was. This welterweight division, I've said it so many times, is my favourite division. Anything can happen in any division, but there's a ton of wrestlers. Koscheck is one of those guys. I am still shocked now. But I finally found out the reason why Koscheck was fighting Lawler. It was because Lawler stepping in that cage alone got him 95 grand. You can't put Lawler against a bum if he's just going to win anyway. You've got to give him elite competition, and he proved it. I don't know whether he's out or not, but that's a question for another day. The referee stopped it, and that's what happened.
I thought it was going to be Koscheck, but I mean, I just like everyone else, I hate Josh Koscheck or whatever his name is, but Robbie Lawler, he looked like a bum. It was like he hadn't been in the UFC in a decade almost. So yeah, it was good to see Josh Koscheck get knocked out. I don't care what he says, he denied it, but if he wasn't knocked out, it was an inevitability. I mean, that was what was going to happen. I was just laughing my ass off. I was hoping Herb Herb Mazzagatti would take his sweet ass time breaking that up, but he broke it up way before. I wish it had gone longer. That's the one time that you'll ever see me making the case for a late stoppage in the UFC. Word on the street.
I thought it was a fair stoppage personally. I mean, when he was throwing those punches, Koscheck was leaning into the punches. He wasn't trying to defend himself. He was leaning in with his face because he was dazed from the punches. So for me, it was a fair stoppage. It was a complete shocker because I like everyone else, had Koscheck taking him down and getting the submission, or well, I thought submission. Some people thought decision. But fair play to Lawler. He's back in the UFC now. He's now, he's beaten a number 8 guy. So you've got to think now he breaks the top 10, which I believe he has on the UFC rankings. Who knows what's next for him? But I'd love to see Robbie Lawler versus Thiago Alves.
I think that's a real good suggestion, Ray. This fight was a shocker that probably shouldn't have been. I mean, when you look at Robbie Lawler's record going into that fight, that's the only thing. I mean, the guy has solid skills, but for myself personally, I just looked at his record, and it's been hit and miss, and it's been in strike force, which is, outside the UFC. So I really kind of underrated his skill set in this fight, and he displayed some good stuff. I mean, takedown defense and solid, hard-hitting boxing. That's what you need against Josh Koscheck, and he showed both. He was able to get back up. He didn't get destroyed like Koscheck does to so many opponents. It was a good showing. Perhaps just getting back in the UFC is really lighting a fire under some of these guys. And I know our friend Justin Bird, one of the MMA Playground homies, he was very excited for that. A perennial Rob Lawler fan, but it was a great fight. And who knows, maybe Robbie Lawler versus Tyron Woodley if he doesn't get matched up with Jake Shields.
Yeah, definitely. I like that Woodley fight. That would be interesting. And as far as the fight went, I mean, you can bet your horse on Josh Koscheck. That guy really delivers most of the time. 90% of the time he comes in and he either smashes somebody or dominates someone with wrestling. Coming into this fight, there was just something about Robbie Lawler, a gut feeling that I had that he was going to knock Koscheck out. I thought it was going to be more of a one-punch kind of a deal, but I thought the stoppage was fine. He went limp. He stopped defending himself, and we've seen a lot worse stoppages, so I'm fine with that. And Robbie Lawler proved that he belongs in the UFC, man. I mean, he just starched a perennial top 5 welterweight. So, good job, Robbie Lawler, and I enjoy all of your picks for this one. I don't really have much to add as far as who he should face next, but what a showing! Bravo.
I like him to fight Tarek Saffiedine. I believe that Tarek Saffiedine has not been put into a fight yet after being pulled in his fight with Jake Ellenberger. Who I believe I believe he was scheduled to fight Jake Ellenberger, then pulled out of that, correct? Anybody?
I believe he turned the fight down.
Oh, wow. Okay, well...
Didn't he turn the fight down with Carlos Condit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, he turned it down with Carlos Condit, and then Hendricks took it.
So the 2 ex-Strikeforce guys, probably the 2 Strikeforce guys who have the highest stock right now in the UFC, Saffiedine and Lawler, with Marquardt being a close third, and Woodley there as well. You have 4 really dangerous guys coming over who are already starting to make their mark felt. I want to see Saffiedine Lawler. I would really like that. In what was a far more boring fight, unfortunately, we had Court McGee and Josh Neer. Lately, I haven't really been calling fights too accurately, but I think most of us, including myself, called this very accurately, that Court McGee's a grinder, has a granite chin. Josh Neer did not have the tools to finish, and McGee had a bigger gas tank. We saw McGee ride Josh Neer out to a decision victory. Anybody have thoughts on the fight? What's next for Mr. Court McGee at welterweight, moving down from middleweight?
Oh, man, I got to be honest and keep it short here. I ordered UFC 157 on pay-per-view. I paid money to see these fights. Court McGee versus Josh Neer. I'll be damned if I remember even watching that fight or paying attention to it. I have no recollection of what happened or seeing that fight whatsoever. I don't even know. It says here in the run sheet here that McGee defeated Josh Neer. That I paid money to see it. I watched it, and that's news to me, man. That's how much I gave a damn about this fight, and that's all I have to say. I'll pass it off to Ray right now. Tell me about the fight.
I thought it was an alright fight, mate. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Basically, McGee kept him standing and beat him on the feet. He nearly knocked him out in one of the rounds as well. Near's legs went wobbly. But it was a fight for McGee to get into a division, into a new division, and to get a win. I mean, Josh Neer is a journeyman. He's been a journeyman for a while. What's next for Court McGee? It's hard to say. I mean, for me, he's probably around top 25 in that division. I mean, obviously, I know Jay likes this division. It's a very stacked division. Off the top of my head, I can't think of who he could face yet. But if he doesn't put a good run streak together, he's one of those guys that could potentially be cut, because we've seen the UFC be quite ruthless in the last couple of weeks. There is talk of whether Che Mills should come back in, because that fight's been has been overturned because of Riddle failing a drug test. I'd be happy to watch Court McGee versus Che Mills.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about Che Mills for some reason. Kind of a guy near that 25 range. Good call on that. This fight, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just instantly forgettable. I mean, it was sloppy as hell. You pop in a VHS of bum fights and you'll see the same exact thing. These guys kind of wore each other down, and nothing too exciting. So I definitely didn't enjoy that whatsoever. I think Neer gets cut in this recent bout of cuts, and I think McGee, put him in there with Gunnar Nelson. Why not? He had a stellar record at middleweight. I think 4 wins in a row before his loss to Nick Ring. And then with this recent win against journeyman Josh Neer, why not put him up against Nelson and see if Nelson can out-grapple a guy with the size and strength advantage that Court McGee possesses?
I
think
I think I jumped in. My bad.
Oh, no, you know what? I believe Chris had cut me off there. I don't know if I...
Was that me? Jesus Christ. I'm back, and I'm already back to my old ways. I apologize. I am not good at reading. Why didn't someone just fucking kick me in the face?
We're just so glad to have you back. It doesn't fucking matter. I said, you know what? You take my spot, I'll take your spot. We'll make it work. We're making it work. And that's, I guess we could say that's what Court McGee did in this fight. He made it work. I thought he was going to knock Josh Neer out. Chris, as Chris had mentioned, he did have a good 4-fight win streak going on there at middleweight, and I thought he was going to have some of that power at 170 and put Neer out, who's he's had his TKO losses in his day. I went to a decision. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings with the missus to see this pay-per-view, actually, which I try not to do because adult beverages are involved, and I don't really remember this fight, but maybe that speaks more to the fight, because I'll tell you what, I wasn't that wasted that night. But as far as where Court McGee goes, I think there's been a lot of good suggestions made already. Chris with Gunnar Nelson, I think that's a real good fight, good test.
Right, first of all, I want to say that I hated Court McGee. I loved TUF the season 11, and I hated the fact he won that season. He only went 3-0, and then he lost to Constantino Philippou, who actually was on the season. Then he lost the rematch to Nick Ring, but now that he's in the welterweight division, I've got to love him, and I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. I do like the Che Mills idea. That seems fantastic. As for the fight itself, I couldn't have cared about it before. When I was watching it, I did enjoy the first round, as it did seem like Court might get the finish, and that would have made me more excited. But it didn't get finished, and it dragged on a bit too long. But that's what happens in MMA. You can't finish everybody. Josh Neer did put up a good job, and I don't know whether Josh Neer's been cut. I reckon he probably has. I think McGee also broke the record for most significant strikes landed in a welterweight fight in that fight as well. Just a statistic out there for you.
For sure. And that brings us to the bantamweight bout. Uriah Faber, Ivan Minjavar. Faber's already been announced who his next opponent's going to be. It's going to be Faber versus Jorgensen, which sort of leaves the door open for a contender for Barao. I guess now that Faber's fighting Jorgensen, the one that makes the most sense is Eddie Wineland. Or the winner of Brad Pickett and Mike Easton, but probably Eddie Wineland, seeing that he just beat Brad Pickett. What did you guys think of Faber versus Minjavar? It's kind of funny. We saw a lot of people were saying that Faber looks a lot like Liz Carmouche, myself included, and we saw both of them take the exact same position in the first round. Faber was the only one able to lock up the rear naked choke in that position, which I feel like we're seeing a lot more of. I feel like we saw it in the Damian Maia-John Fitch fight for an entire round. It's like that backpack position. I don't know what else to call it. You're literally hanging on the guy's back as he's standing up with your legs wrapped around his waist trying to choke him out. I wonder if we'll see it more often in the future, but like I said, we saw Uriah Faber get into this position, and unlike Damian Maia and Liz Carmouche, he was able to finish it early into the fight. I believe it was a first round finish. 434. Menjivar is forced to tap into round one. What did you guys think of the fight? I think Faber looked real crisp. This, does derail Menjivar a little bit. I don't know if we'll ever see Menjivar fight for a belt, but he's one of these guys who's always going to be contending. Early look, Faber-Jorgensen. What do you guys think about that fight? The fight last Saturday. I'll start off with you, Ray.
I thought Faber looked awesome. I mean, he literally come out and smashed through Menjivar. I expected him to beat Menjivar, and I was unsure if he'd get the finish or not. I ended up going for a decision. I think Menjivar is good, but I think Faber's in a different league, and I don't think Menjivar's ever going to fight for a title, because I just don't think he's good enough to fight for a title. I mean, we've seen Menjivar struggle against some lower tier guys. I know he nearly lost to Prince John Albert, I think it was, and then he had to reverse it. I'm sure it was John Albert he nearly lost to. As for Faber-Jorgensen, I think it's going to be a great fight. I mean, Jorgensen looked really good in his last fight. He had a really solid submission win, but I can't see Jorgensen getting through Faber. I think when Faber's on it, Faber's really, really good. I think the only guys that beat Faber are the ones right at the top. You mentioned there about who's next for Barao. For me, the clear contender, if it's not going to be Dominic Cruz, is Eddie Wineland, just because of the fact that he's Brad Pickett. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think Faber looks really good in this fight. And it's amazing. Even since his WEC days, he seems to be getting better, which is just astounding. He was a champion for so long in the WEC. Hasn't got the UFC gold yet, but he looks really good. I mean, his win versus Brian Bowles, he looked amazing. It's just he's had trouble against only the top guys in the world, Dominic Cruz and Hendon Barao at 135. Those are the only guys he hasn't been able to put it together. But his boxing has improved so much over the years. It really does look good when he's able to get his rhythm going. And he did a fantastic job in this fight. It was almost as impressive as when he choked Takaya Mizugaki out in his bantamweight debut. Where does he go from here? I mean, that really has been the question with Uriah Faber. Scott Jorgensen, I wonder if they're going to make that fight just because, I mean, they're teammates, if not, friends to some extent, if I'm not mistaken. So who knows where he goes from here? As for Menjivar, I think he'll stick around. I don't know exactly where to place him with his next fight, but he's a solid 135er.
Yeah, I really thought that this fight would be a lot more competitive, and Patrick brought up a good point that Faber used that backpack position against Mizugaki as well. It's obviously something he's really comfortable with against the cage. He has that beautiful transition and the explosive athleticism to actually pull it off. And as far as Menjivar's performance, I mean, he basically did nothing in this fight, and I agree with all you guys that Uriah Faber is one of those guys that can smash everyone to about the A level, and then he gets to that A plus, and he fails the test. So I think I think that what this really showed was that Menjivar needs to switch up his training, and like Ray said, he's good but not great. And Faber is great, but he's not good enough to ever win that title. So against Jorgensen, I see him winning, but I don't see him finishing Jorgensen. Jorgensen has only been finished by a handful of guys. He's really tough as nails, and I see Uriah just winning that by a decision. Most likely, if it's a 3-rounder, it'll be unanimous. If it's a 5-rounder, maybe a finish, but most likely a split decision.
And to quote Jay, who I don't think... Oh, wait, nope, he is back. Never mind. Jay, how was your poop?
It was a slash, I'm afraid. It wasn't a poop. As you were going to say, I literally couldn't care about Faber. I do prefer the flyweight division, just because I think I can name everyone, so it means you can rank everyone. With the bantamweight division, I couldn't care about it. Faber's one of my least favourites fighters. It's not because of anything personal, I don't know. Maybe it's his bum chin, I haven't really known, but something about him just makes me think I don't like this guy. So I don't really care about the fight, and him beating Menjivar meant nothing to me. It's just Jorgensen and Menjivar, 2 wins in a row. Still don't care.
I am fucking done with Uriah Faber too, man. I don't give a damn about this kid. After he beat fucking Menjivar, I swear to you people, within 5 minutes of his winning, the UFC official Twitter account was already saying, "Oh man, looks like Uriah Faber's on his way to another title shot," and it made me sick to my stomach. It was disgusting. I'm tired of this kid getting in it. It's been 5 minutes. Let's give him another fucking title shot. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. Faber has got to go. I hope whoever he's fighting next, Jorgensen, I guess, whatever. Jorgensen, I'm on your side now. It doesn't matter. You're fighting Faber, so I'm on your side. Get rid of this troll. We're done with the troll. Get the clown out. Word on the street.
You know, what kind of sucks is that run Uriah put together in the WEC got a lot of people into mixed martial arts, myself included. Freshman year of college, you know, I was a little bit into MMA, nothing like I am now, but I would still watch those WEC cards where Faber fought on them because he would steamroll through people. I think the UFC is desperately trying to get that California kid back. If Faber somehow was able to get back into that kind of groove, he would be one of the biggest pay-per-view draws in the UFC. I mean, he would be up there with your George St. Pierre's, Anderson Silva's, because Faber, because of the amount of time he's been on a television, this is back in 08 and 09, he was on Spike so often. I think other channels like Versus and Fox Sports were airing those WEC cards too. It was really, really entertaining to watch Faber fight, and as desperate as the UFC is to get that back, I just don't think it's going to happen because he wasn't fighting in a league or in a division with guys like Renan Barão, Dominic Cruz, Eddie Wineland, Brad Pickett, Michael McDonald. This is so much more skilled of a division than the featherweight division he fought in the WEC. That I really want Uriah Faber to win the UFC belt, but I just don't see it happening. And I guess, Chris, did you have something you wanted to add about the bantamweights?
Yeah, real quick. Jake and I had a talk about the bantamweights about a year ago when Renan wasn't yet the champion. He had just defeated Jorgensen, I believe, and Jake had said that Renan Barão was one of the best guys in the world pound for pound, and I kind of scoffed at it. After these last couple matches, man, I am inclined to agree with you. You're definitely right with Renan Barão and where he stands in the pound for pound division.
Yeah, just the quickness. I almost feel like, you have every single champion in mixed martial arts now is an American wrestler, with the exception of obviously the women's division and the 3 just Brazilian freaks in Anderson, Jose Aldo, and Renan Barão, and their similarity is just their quickness and ability to do things to people before they even know what's happening. So I won't dwell on that. But Renan Barão called it. And in our co-main event, we had another really, really great Brazilian striker. If we're going to talk about Brazilian strikers, can't leave out Lyoto Machida. Lyoto Machida defeats Dan Henderson in a split decision victory. That was not the exciting fight a lot of us had hoped and wished for. Most people I talked to when looking at UFC 157, my main consensus I got was, well, at least we got that co-main to look forward to. It's not the most stacked card ever, but we got Machida Henderson. It may have ended up being the most boring card on the fight. Just did not live up. Glorified sparring match, as Chris likes to call them. What did you guys think? What do you think's next for either guy? I'll start it off with the Palm Springs. Oh, what's something that starts with P? The Palm Springs Pope. P Money. You're from Palm Springs, right?
Thank you, sir. Yes, this was the whole reason I went out. I like to stay in and watch my fights. I like to have them on the DVR, but I wanted to go out for the Dan Henderson-Lyoto Machida fight. I said, if nothing else, I mean, Rousey-Carmouche was a foregone conclusion. I was there to see Dan Henderson complete his quest and solidify his spot as one of the greatest of all time. And I think he certainly would have done that with a definitive win over Machida. I thought it was coming. I thought the H-bomb was going to drop. And Hendo did land some good-sized shots on Machida. I was very surprised Machida, he handled it, but those shots were just so few and far between. I would have liked to have given it to Dan Henderson just for having the pressure that he did. It was a frustrating fight. I thought that was I thought someone was getting knocked out. And looking at Dan Henderson's chin, I honestly thought it was going to be Machida. I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that fight. Very disappointed with how that went. What's next for both of them? I don't know. I could have sworn I heard Machida it doesn't necessarily want the title shot right away in his next fight. But according to Dana White, now they have a ranking system. He just beat the number one guys, so he's the number one contender. But, we'll see what happens. Dana White says a lot of things. And as for what's next for Hendo, who knows? I know a lot of people want to see Shogun versus Hendo 2. I don't know why. I mean, it's the best fight that's probably ever been in mixed martial arts. You don't need to do it again. It'll just be another massacre, except it'll only be 3 rounds, and it'll just be Shogun getting curb stomped again.
Whoo, powerful, son, powerful. This fight was a big time bummer. From a technical aspect, I enjoyed it. As far as did it get my adrenaline going or my blood pumping, hell no. It was not that great, and I can attribute that to 2 simple things. Machida looked great. Dan Henderson looked meh. I think that Dan Henderson has had too long of a layoff to accept the fight with Machida. I think it would have been an even worse option to wait for John Jones. That would have been much worse for him. I think that Dan Henderson looked chubby in this fight. He did not look in shape. That's the most mass I've seen on the guy in a long time. Even if it was 205, he did not look good. And I think Dan, with the right game plan and not just sticking to an inside leg kick and a massive right hand, could have won that fight. I mean, he didn't do much, and Machida just picked his shots and looked great. What's next for both guys? For Machida, I think if Gegard Mousasi wins against Gustafsson, I think he should face Gegard. That would be a huge test for him, as well as the fact that, Gustafsson would basically hop over the number one contender in the division. If that doesn't happen and Gustafsson wins, I'd like to see him face James Tahuna if Tahuna doesn't get paired up with Jimmy Manuwa like he should be. Per Ray, talking to Dana White. So I think those 2 fights are good for Machida. Dan Henderson, I'm going to say Phil Davis or the winner of Teixeira and Bader.
For me, I thought the fight was incredible. I might be the only person in the world to say that, and I know. What's even worse is I've got Ramses talking after me, so I'm going to sound like completely out of line between you 2 guys. I love the fight. Machida, you guys are banging about Dan Henderson, how he didn't employ the right game plan. I don't think I've ever seen Dan Henderson throw so many leg kicks. He realised that the only way he's going to win this fight is if he mixes things up, and he did exactly that. He did take the fight to Machida. The one time Joe Rogan was saying the way to beat Machida is to either stand still or walk backwards. Henderson starts walking backwards. Machida decides to trap him. He gets him cornered. Henderson realizes he's against the cage. Machida knows all these tricks. Henderson put a lot together, and I realized that. And both guys looked incredible. Henderson for the amount of heart he showed. Machida for being able to survive and the way he was dodging those punches, his kicking his legs out. I thought the fight was fantastic. I know that a lot of guys have been bashing this fight. I really did enjoy it. What's next for both guys? I've heard that Henderson's fighting Evans next, Rashad. I think that fight makes sense, especially after Rashad's appalling performance. If he goes in any way that he did against Little Nog, he's going to end up knocked out by Henderson. That's something I think we all want to see. Machida, it's got to be John Jones if that fight's going down. I think Machida is on another level. You look at the guys he's lost to. they're all top tier guys. I mean, Quinton Jackson, that was a close fight. You had Shogun knock him out. But Shogun is again a versatile striker, and I said it last week. It's going to come down to the statistics, and it was all about the statistics. Dan Henderson never threw a leg kick, and he decided to start putting them together. He realised that just landing punches isn't going to work. He's going to have to mix things up. Machida was still able to beat that. Fair play to both guys, but Machida walks out with a victory.
Oh man, all you other guys on the roundtable, we got to get Jay some help here. His habit is out of control. He's just claiming that was an exciting fight here. What are you talking about, Jay? If that wasn't a cry for help, I don't know what is. That fight was ridiculous. Machida versus Henderson was ludicrous, preposterous. Dan Henderson's the injury report comes out after the fight, says his right hand was broken. Well, I don't remember him landing a goddamn thing, so using the power of deduction, I'm going to guess that Dan Henderson's hand was broken going into the damn fight. I saw his right hand, the power bomb, wrapped up. It was wrapped up to shit, and he had that so much knee padding on. It looked like he had just escaped from the hospital. Dan Henderson, man, what the hell was that? I want my money back. He wasn't even trying to hit Machida. At least that's what I hope, because I mean they were dancing, they were playing patty kick. It made me sick. He was telegraphing punches. He was emailing them to Machida. He was sending him text messages. Man, this fight looked silly to me. I don't even want to see either of them fight again. Man, who gives a damn? This was bullshit. The reason they didn't fight each other was because there was no win bonus in their contract, guys. They had no reason to go hard on each other. Powerful. They had 200 and 250K apiece just to fucking no matter what, just to show. And they also got a slice of the pay-per-view on top of that. So they took us, they ripped us all off, and they didn't even fight each other. It's bullshit, and I'm calling them out. Word on the street.
I've got a question for Ramsey, because I've heard that if you follow the Aunt Jimmy show, it solves all your problems. Can you help somebody that thought Machida Henderson was an exciting fight?
I'm going to do what I can for Jay, man, but we obviously see how far he is. He's got 1 foot off the ledge already, man, saying that was an exciting fight. I
could go into details about this. First of all, Henderson did land punches. He landed about 30 punches, so his hand wasn't broken. I said last week he'd look slow and Machida would pick him off, and he did it. I loved it.
30 punches in a 15-minute fight, though.
He also said he thought that Nia McGee was a good fight as well.
Hang on.
Can you do
30 punches in a 15-minute fight. Do you want to know how many Rampage landed and he won? He landed 16. Point proven.
So Hendo was throwing 2 punches per minute, huh? That's devastating.
I think he landed 33% of what he threw, so that'd be about. He went for about 90 punches and only landed 30. Something like that.
This was a bum fight, Jay. All right, get you some help, son.
Jay's favorite movie was Battlefield Earth.
I have that movie.
The hell is Battlefield Earth?
It's a horrible movie.
I bought that movie on DVD just to listen to the commentary.
Back on track. I just wanted to stir that up a little bit. I agree with everyone else apart from Jay. I didn't really enjoy this fight. I was looking forward to this fight, and it kind of, I suppose, I was looking forward to it. I want to see how it played out, but in a way, it kind of played out how I thought it would. I thought Machida would win by decision. I think it went to a split decision, if I remember right. I thought Machida would win anyway. As for what's next, I like the idea of Henderson fighting Rashad Evans, and I wouldn't mind seeing Rashad Evans getting knocked out. I mean, when he got knocked out by Machida, did this funny little dance. It'd be nice to see that again. I think Rampage called it the chicken leg dance. That'd be pretty funny. Machida. See, they have this thing about winning in an exciting fashion. I don't think Machida warrants another title shot after that, personally. And if Gustafsson beats Mousasi, I'd like to see Gustafsson get the shot. If they don't want to give Gustafsson the shot, they should match Gustafsson up with Machida if Gustafsson wins, and then the winner of that gets the shot. That's what I'd do.
Jay, do you have anything else to throw in?
Yeah, I do. Does anybody on this round table think that Dan Henderson won?
No.
No.
You got to fight to win.
Yeah, well, I've heard a lot of people say that he won, and the only person who scored it in favour of Dan Henderson was Cecil Peoples.
Was that a joke?
Because he can't see. I get it. He can't see. That's hilarious.
I'm fucking with you. Yeah. Jay's other favorite movies are The Love Guru and ballistic X versus Sever.
And don't forget Geely. He said something about Geely earlier.
Geely's good too.
I've never heard these two.
All right. Well, we'll move on to a fight that was actually pretty good. Liz Carmouche really giving Ronda Rousey a heck of a time in that first round, taking her back in that backpack position. Actually, the two women joked around after the fight because Liz Carmouche was sporting a nice little bite mark on her forearm when Rousey kind of unintentionally sunk her teeth into the challenger's arm when she was sinking in that rear naked choke. But Ronda Rousey kept on winning by armbar in the first round, even though she just had about, I think, 13 or 14 seconds left. She pulled it off in what was her longest fight ever. She has yet to see the corner, yet to see round 2 in her career, and will probably keep dominating this division for the near future. What did you guys think of the fight? I was really impressed with Liz Carmouche. I've actually gone back and watched most of Ronda Rousey's fights. It's not hard. It takes about 10 minutes because with the exception of the Miesha Tate fight, every single fight's less than a minute. So I went back and watched them. The way Liz was able to stop Ronda from imposing her will, probably above the attack and above taking the backpack position and putting her in trouble. I was more impressed that Ronda wasn't able to impose her will like she does in every fight, including her last fight against Sarah Kaufman. Just ran up, threw the girl straight on the ground, and broke her arm off like she always does. So Liz really looked good. We'll probably see her get another title shot, and she seems like a really, really cool person. It's very hard to hate against somebody with an awesome personality and who used to serve in the military. What'd you guys think of the fight? It looks like the winner of Kat Zingano and Miesha Tate, both of whom have been on the MMA podcast or MMA Mental, will get that next title shot. What'd you guys think? I'll start it off with the with the man who just got back from doing Mitt Romney's taxes in the dark, Chris.
Well, you know what? Thank you for that intro, by the way. I actually finished, personally, myself quicker than this fight actually finished. But I'm a gentleman, so I'm going to go ahead and let Patrick go before me because I skipped in line ahead of him. Patrick, let's hear what you got to say, man. I'll go last.
Oh, sir. Well, that's completely unnecessary. But, having put me on the spot, I said just recently that this was kind of a foregone conclusion. I think that's safe to say. I mean, it was a first round armbar. I did think that Carmouche could be one of Rousey's toughest tests just because, I mean, she is a grinder. She took it to Marloes Coenen in her Strikeforce title shot. She was this close to winning. Coenen came in with like a Hail Mary triangle, if I'm not mistaken, and ended up winning the fight. So I'm looking at this and I say, okay, so what's Ronda Rousey going to do? She's the bronze medal Olympian in judo. That's what she does. She'll trip a bitch, take her down, and break her fucking arm, or dislocate it savagely. And it's good. It's fun to watch. And I do think she has some tough tests coming up. Kat Zingano, I have not seen her fight. I've heard she's pretty damn good, though. I see she's also 7-0. I really think I'm looking at Sarah McMahon. She's also an Olympic medalist in judo, and I mean, heck, that right there, that's the kind of caliber of athlete I think it just may take to stop Ronda Rousey. So what's next for her? As Jake had mentioned, the winner of Kat Zingano versus Miesha Tate should take her on. I can't really call that fight, having not seen Kat Zingano fight. And what's next for Carmouche? Who knows? I know that the UFC's been signing up some women since this fight, so that's great to see. I really have to check the roster, though. I can't really say. I don't know what's made yet.
The fight didn't really interest me personally. I was excited to see Rousey win, and then all of a sudden I lost interest as soon as I realised the fact she was sponsored by the UFC. And yeah, Dana admitted it himself. He thought that the fight was going to be a pushover for Rousey, which fair play, Liz did step up and she she did a good job. The question that intrigues me most is who's next. Personally, the only people I want to see fight Rousey are the Gracies. I mean, you have Rose Gracie and you have Cara Gracie. Those are the only two Gracie girls. I've done a lot of research this week on this. As soon as that fight happened, I was just like, I don't really want to see these guys, any of the guys that are in the women's division fight Rousey. It just doesn't make sense. I want to see how she'd fare against somebody better than her on the map. And if it would also suggest that Rousey would have to keep the fight standing. And it might be more interesting. We might see something different. I don't know how those fights play out, especially with the fact they've never actually fought an MMA fight, which would also make it even more intriguing. And seeing Gracie's lose is always fun, but it'd be even funnier to see somebody sponsored by the UFC lose.
Yeah. Excuse me, I'm exhaling marijuana. The Rousey, well, it was an exciting women's fight, and I would like to congratulate Liz Carmouche, the new women's bantamweight champion. It was an excellent fight, and it was great, surprising, shock, upset victory. For those of you who didn't watch it, she got Ronda in a side head crank backpack choke, and Ronda tapped. She tapped once. I saw it. So that was that. And Liz Carmouche.
Takes two taps to tango, hombre.
No, the Brazilian tap, man. That's I saw it, so that's all that matters. Big John, he's a great referee, but so he can't catch everything. All right, so Big John, we forgive you, we love you. We know you were just watching Ronda's titties pop out, but she tapped. I saw it with my own eyes. I got the proof. Just hit me up on Twitter, the Aunt Jimmy Show. But congratulations, Liz Carmouche. She's gonna go far. What's next for Liz? I don't know. Maybe a rematch with Ronda. I don't know. But yeah, just exciting, and I hope to get her on the show sometime on the Word on the Street and maybe the MMA podcast too. Thanks.
For a fight which we all knew how was going to end, I don't know what it was, but as soon as it came around to that fight, I was really, really excited for that fight. Especially after what we just witnessed with the Machida Hendo fight, I couldn't believe how excited I was. So I was really looking forward to seeing these two women fight in the UFC, and I was really looking forward to seeing Ronda Rousey. Now, I think most people had predicted that it was going to be Rousey round one sub-armbar. That's how she's won all of her fights. But that fight did not go the way it was supposed to go. I mean, Liz Carmouche really, really took it to her. And Ronda Rousey nearly tapped. I say nearly tapped. But she fought through and she fought out of that submission. But then with about something like 15 seconds to go, she still hadn't won the fight. And how dramatic was it when she then put on that armbar? She was pulling away at it with her spider leg position, or whatever they call it, and then she finally got it. It was just... I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I was just really, really excited for that fight and really excited to see her get that win. I think she's going to be phenomenal. I think she already is phenomenal. As what's next, obviously Liz has done enough to get more fights in the UFC. I mean, she wasn't an easy rollover for Ronda. She made her work for it. And I think Ronda Rousey, I think it's already been said she's going to face the winner of Misha Zagano. So I'm looking forward to seeing who that is. I've only ever seen a couple of Misha Tate's fights, but she's always looked good. That fight with Judy Kedzie was mental.
MMA Mental.
Hey,
hey, buddy.
Hey. With Julie Kedzie was amazing, and obviously Captain Ghana's got a big reputation, so we'll see what's going to happen. But I'm excited if that's what we've got to go with for the women's division. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Well put, sir. Well put. And I just want to start off my little rant here with a big congratulations to women and MMA and women's MMA finally getting their paid dues. It's pretty much all owed to Ronda Rousey, and hats off to her. I'm just really happy to see the women get their fair shot. At first, I hated watching chicks fight. There was something about it seemed a little too brutal. But after seeing the skill level that these women can present inside the octagon, I'm on board, and it was a really big milestone for women in the fight game. So hats off to them. As far as the fight went exactly the way I thought it would go. Ronda Rousey finishing that first round. I don't think there is a woman in the world that can mess with her, and that includes Cyborg, because excludes her. She's not a woman. I don't know what that is. That's a thing. So Ronda Rousey, good job. You did it right. Ramses is not totally crazy for seeing that single tap. Yeah, she tapped, but she tapped once. The rules are multiple taps. So Ronda Rousey gets away with the victory. And I was really proud of her.
And yeah, I actually saw the GIF too. I was about to say the exact same thing, Chris. Look, you can't tell if it was it did look a lot like a tap, but you don't know if she was just trying to grab her arm. It wasn't multiple taps, and the fight should not have been stopped, even if the referee was aware that happened. But, to your point, Ramses, it looked a lot like a tap. It looked like a lot, sort of like you had Jones in more trouble than he's ever been in his career against Vitor Belfort. I think we saw that with Ronda Rousey. And I guess before we go over to the news, we got a few, I think we got 8 different topics to talk about on the news. Ray is hosting Guess That Tweet. Right now, the MMA podcast is crushing Team MMA Mental 13-6. Chris is back. It's going to be Chris, Ramses, and myself representing Team MMA podcast, Patrick and Jay. Jay has been on a crazy long streak of coming in the runner-up position. We'll see if that happens. Ramses is the defending champion. Ray, it's all you.
You're goddamn right. Oh, hold on. First, I just want to say, gentlemen, good luck. What you gonna do when I hit you with Thug Jitsu? How you gonna beat the master of the tweet and the word on the street?
Whoa!
Oh, shit. Damn. Word on the street, master of the tweet.
Damn.
That was impressive. I feel like giving you a point just for that, to be honest with you.
Let's do this.
Right, are we ready then, kids?
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tweet number 1. Right, what I've done, just so you know, I've got 5 tweets. If it's a draw, I've got a tiebreaker tweet. If it's not a draw, we'll do the tiebreaker tweet just for fun. But it's out of the first 5, okay? Number 1. Is there anyone in the OC area that wants to babysit my wife Kat for the next month or so till she gets out of jail? Is that A, Chris Lieben, B, Ian McCall, C, War Machine, D, Paul Daly?
Ooh, alright, I'm going to go with War Machine. That's a very scummy tweet. Chris Lieben kind of rang some bells, but I'm going to stick with War Machine.
Shoot. I got to copy Chris on this one, man. I don't think I'm leaning Chris Lieben, but I'm going to go with War Machine.
And I hate to follow suit, but I simply must. I feel like it's War Machine. That's just his feed.
Would you read the tweet one more time?
Yeah. Is there anyone in the OC area that wants to babysit my wife Kat for the next month or so till she gets out of jail?
Well, so this person's wife is going to jail, essentially?
That's what he's saying, yeah.
Alright, well...
No, it's his cat.
His cat's going to jail. Okay, his cat is his wife and is going to jail. All right. Well, I've actually spoken with Chris Lieben's wife before. She's a Hawaiian girl, really really sweet. Helped us set up that interview with him. I couldn't be Lieben. I think McCall's going through shit with his wife or some sort of craziness. I will follow suit. We're all going War Machine.
I'm going to go with McCall. He's got a wife, I know that. He lives in the OC. Those two things on their own are enough to make me think that Lieben lives in Hawaii. War Machine, I don't know where he lives. Paul Daly, he could be anywhere in the world, probably not the US because he can't get a visa over there. So I'm going McCall.
Right, it was not Chris Lieben and it was not Paul Daly. Obviously, Paul Daly's in the UK. Following suit was the wrong thing to do, as it was not War Machine, it was Ian McCall.
Damn.
Well done, Jay.
Shit.
Nice. John Fitch returns.
Well
Right.
done, Jay.
Are we ready for tweet number 2?
Yeah.
About to go to the lab and do some real shit with the mad scientist Mike Pratt. We're making some more of that colloidal silver sports gel. Right? Is that A, Chris Lieben, B, Ian McCall, C, War Machine, D, Paul Daly?
What the
from the previous. Oh,
Can you reread
read
the
it?
tweet?
Right.
Please reread it.
About to go to the lab and do some real shit with the mad scientist Mike Pratt. We're making some more of that colloidal silver sports gel.
Yeah. Okay. Are we going? No, we're not going fish.
I'm
style.
out.
We are going snake
Okay.
style.
Are we?
Yeah, so it's on Jay.
I swear somebody on this thing retweeted that earlier. I'm going to go with War Machine.
Shoot, if Jay thinks he saw it earlier, I'll go War Machine too.
God damn it. I'll take War Machine.
War Machine fucked me on the last one. I'll go Chris Levin.
Okay, so it's Chris Leben, Paul Daly, War Machine, and who else?
Uncle Creepy.
Ian McCall. Well, Ian isn't that creative. War Machine's pretty crazy. Daly can't get into the country, and Leben lives in Hawaii. Oh, fuck it. I'll go Chris Leben.
Okay. It was not Paul Daly, and it was not Ian McCall. And following suit was the right thing to do. It was not.
Team MMA Mental making moves early on.
So what's
John Fitch looking to get the championship.
Jay's got 2 points. Myself and Patrick have 1 point, and my teammates my teammates Chris and Ramsey still at 0.
So how's the defending champ doing?
I still got a chance, all right. You're jumping a little bit too soon here. I know you guys are prancy eager over there on your side of the pond. Just wait here. Here we go. Okay. I'm about to turn this shit around.
Tweet number 3. I can't stand whiny complainers who always blame everyone but themselves. We control our own destiny, and it all starts with positive mind. Was that Miguel Torres, Jason Reinhart, Nick Catone, or Matt Grice?
I'm going to go ahead and say Reinhardt.
Can you try to pronounce Miguel Torres one more time for me? Is that just... I don't have the choice wrong, do I? It's Miguel Torres, right?
How do you pronounce it?
It's Miguel Torres. You said Miguel or something.
Ramsey and Ray giving each other some shit tonight, son.
They don't
as I'm the judge, Ramsey's the first player to ever score -1.
I'm going with Miguel Torres. Whatever.
You know what? That's a tough one, Ray. God damn! I mean, Matt Grice, Nick Catone. I'm all these names in here. I'm thinking are curveballs, but perhaps Miguel Torres is the curveball because he's generally regarded as being a dirty tweeter. I'll go with Torres.
I'm going to go with Matt Grice simply because I loved his performance at UFC 157. He tore it up.
God damn.
Well, Matt Grice.
So Matt Grice, Jay.
Is the curveball. I don't know who else you said, but I'm going to go with Jason Reinhart.
Okay. It's not Nick Catone. And Miguel Torres, it's not him either. It's not Matt Grice. It is Jason Reinhart.
Shit, I'm on the board? I'm on the board.
Snap. So that was what? Chris and Jay getting points?
Yeah.
All right, Jay. Ooh.
That's fine. That's
fucking Brit. Let's do it, Americans.
America can win this battle.
Has Joe got a 2-point lead?
Yeah.
Yes, cool.
Jay, you can't fuck this up now. You just need to get one more right.
Yeah, but it's John Fitch. Anything can happen in these 9 seconds.
You ready then? Holy smoke. There's a whole lot of muscle on this plane to the Arnold Classic. Was that Mark Munoz, Chris Weidman, Alan Boucher, or Luke Rockhold?
I heard you say Luke Rockhold, so go on, go through the names again. Sorry, guys.
They're all UFC middleweights. Mark Munoz, Chris Weidman, Alan Boucher, or Luke Rockhold.
They need to be welterweights, man. I'm going to go with Chris Weidman.
Yo, I feel like an ass. You just had to reread the answers. Would you read the tweet again?
Holy smoke, there's a whole lot of muscle on this plane to the Arnold Classic.
To the Arnold Classic. I don't know what the Arnold Classic is, but it sounds like golf. Maybe Arnold Palmer Classic. Who would be into golf? Mark Munoz, maybe? Seems kind of lame. I'll go... Wait, no. Belcher is white. and the whiter you are, the more likely you are to being into golf. So I'll rule out Munoz Lombard. Rockhold is probably too busy, like, you know, getting tribal tattoos or whatever. So yeah, I'll go with the whitest person on there, Alan Belcher.
Do you not know what the Arnold Classic is?
No.
God damn, I feel like Rockhold is whiter than Belcher, though. And I do believe you're right. The Arnold Classic, I'm 99.9% sure is a golf event. I'm going to go with Jay and say Rockhold on this.
Before does anyone else know what the Arnold Classic is?
I just looked.
It's a bodybuilding competition where they have supplements there in bodybuilding.
Can I change?
No, you can't change.
Can I change back to Munoz? Damn
I
it.
love the fact you ruled out Hector Lombard. He wasn't even on the list. I ruled him out.
Check the tape. I went for Weidman.
Right. People are still guessing, sorry. So we've got, for this golf classic, it's to do with muscle men, we've got, there was a clue there, there's a whole lot of muscle on this way to this, okay. Right, so who's guessing who hasn't guessed?
I guess Weidman, that's what I remember.
Ray,
Jake guessed Belcher. Patrick was in the midst of guessing, I'm assuming.
Ray, you're doing a horrible job hosting this.
No, I'm incredibly confused, as is apparent by all my previous statements. And now I'm like, oh yeah, it is a bodybuilding competition. How the fuck can I forget that? Still, whatever. I'll still go with Rockhold.
Word on the street, you there?
Oh, I thought I was knocked out of this one.
No, you still...
No, I will go with Mr. Christopher Weidman.
Well, Weidman is a Christian man who doesn't tweet. Lombard only tweets about his sponsors and little tiny Bruce Lee type quips. And Luke Rockhold is just too busy surfing. You're an idiot if you don't pick Alan Belcher.
Okay. Hector Lombard weren't on the original list, so he
Hector Lombard.
Right, it wasn't Mark Munoz, it wasn't Luke Rockhold, and it wasn't Alan Belcher. It was Chris.
Damn it!
It was the one guy I forgot was mentioned. Damn it.
Yeah, you're 4 for 4, aren't you?
Fuck.
Jay's...
Yeah. So, yeah, anything can happen. I don't think anybody can catch up. I could get caught with something big.
No,
I think Jay's taking TRT.
Yeah, I think if you put everyone else's scores together, you're still winning. Right.
1-0-1-1-4.
Yeah.
Alright, well, that's a dominant performance, but kind of like the battles 1812 and the Independence War. We won the war.
You have any more, Ray?
Yeah, we've got 2 more. We'll just do these last 2 for fun, because obviously Jay can't be caught now. A motivational speech by WNEU basketball coach Malik Champlain, featuring some of my training and fight footage. And that was either Nick Newell, Ronda Rousey, Houston Alexander, or Colton Smith.
What was the first one?
Nick Newell, Ronda Rousey, Houston Alexander, or Colton Smith.
I'm going to go Nick Newell.
It had something to do with basketball. I know that Houston Alexander is black. I will go with Houston Alexander.
Ramses, you son of a bitch. I'm going Houston Alexander as well, but not for the reasons stated by Ramses.
Yeah, right. Admit it, dude.
I'll go with Tank Abbott.
Who were the names? Tank Abbott, Houston Alexander.
Tank Abbott's not on the list.
Oh, he wasn't the list. What the hell?
Nick Newell, Ronda Rousey, Houston Alexander, or Colton Smith.
Oh, it wasn't. I like him the most, so I'll go Colton Smith.
Right, it wasn't Ronda Rousey, it wasn't Tank Abbott, it wasn't Houston Alexander, it wasn't Colton Smith, it was the man with one hand, Nick Newell.
Oh!
So it was Tank Abbott, did you say? Oh,
He wasn't on the list. Right, the last one, tiebreaker, which we don't need. Long overdue recovery week, no lifting. I went to the chiropractor, got a massage done, yoga, and now vacation. Next week, bending bars. What's that? Brock Lesnar, Bob Sapp, Dave Bautista, or Bobby Lashley?
It's got to be the Machine. From those, the only guy who could actually bend bars. It could be Batista. I don't think Bob Sapp could do anything. I don't know who else you said, but it's got to be Bobby Lashley.
I'll go with Mark McGuire.
Was he on the list?
Cheeky fuck. You cheeky bastard.
I'll go with Andre the Giant.
Well, I know for a fact it was not Brock Lesnar because he just fought Triple H on Monday Night Raw, and he did amazing. He cut himself in the forehead with the razor blade, except he fucked it up, and he cut himself too deep, and man, he was gushing blood. You guys gotta watch the clip if you can. Brock fucked it all up. But, yeah, so that has nothing to do with that type of injury. I'll go with, whatever option C is. I don't even remember. I'll go with C. That's right. Batista, yeah.
Well, Ramses, as you so eloquently put it, Brock Lesnar's fighting career was just like that Monday Night Raw. It started off as a small chance and opened up into a big bleeding vagina. I'm going to have to say... I'm going to go ahead and say Bobby Lashley. I mean, he seems like the guy that would tweet something like that out of all those guys. I think the third choice was a fucking ruse. What's that wrestler's name? Batista?
Yeah.
No, definitely not him. Bobby Lashley.
It was Mark McGuire.
Yeah, I knew it.
No, it was Bobby Lashley.
Oof.
Well done, Jay. You dominated. You finally got your win. You're finally the bride, not the bridesmaid.
Look, what's this about bridesmaids? I just want to say one thing. Did you notice how when John Fitch decided to finally win, you all got bored and distracted and stopped paying attention, just like any John Fitch fight? I'm not allowed to win this show. Things go crazy if I win. But yeah, 5 and 6, not bad, not bad.
Jay, I have some bad news. You have been cut from Guess That Tweet.
Yeah, for being boring.
Next time I lose, you can't cut me if I won, remember that.
Yeah, but if you fail a drugs test, we can take that.
Oh, yeah.
We want that piss sample from earlier on.
Yeah, but I've got horse piss like Thiago Silva, though. What counts then?
Jay,
Told you he's got a drug problem.
Yeah, Jay, huge congrats for winning. In this 20th edition of Guess That Tweet, you have a winner's speech before we move on to the news? All right, I guess not. Anything, Jay? Nothing?
Jay's gone.
I got something
Jay's
to
dead.
say.
All right, I guess in lieu of Jay, Ramses will make another victory speech.
I just want to say it looks like I scored 0 points, didn't put up a fight, but it was all on purpose, gentlemen. As you guys know, let me just break the fourth wall. It was. I did take a dive because I am hosting Guess That Tweet next week. So what I like to do is relinquish my title every time before it's my turn. I did it last time to Jake. This time it was Jay's turn. But you guys are welcome, and Jake, congratulations. I'll take it back from you in 2 weeks.
All right, and that's right. Ramses will be hosting next week, so definitely tune into that. And that brings us into the news. Ramses was just speaking a minute ago, which is a amazing segue into marijuana use. Matt Riddle popped his second positive test for marijuana in under a year, has been cut from the UFC. He did make it clear the UFC reached out to him, said if he strings together a couple of wins, they will bring him back. Riddle said he is in the dark on it, said that his usual procedure is stopping smoking 2 weeks out before the fight. This time he stopped 3 weeks out, and was not able to pass the test. I actually was looking at Riddle's Twitter like a month ago, and he went to LabCorp. I'll dig up the tweet, but it was a picture of him getting blood work done a month ago, all happy. I think he was wearing a hat that said "Smoke Trees" or something, and he was, giving the thumbs up, saying, "All right, ready to fight." Turns out maybe he did not pass that test, but he is cut. What do you all think? Should Riddle have been cut for his second victory that has been overturned now in under a year?
First off, I want to say that that Matt Riddle is not a 205-pound centaur of a muscle-making machine, a destroyer. He is not Thiago Silva. So if you get popped twice, you probably should be cut. But yeah, all I can really say, honestly and seriously about that fight is Mills has got to come back. You can't cut someone for losing, especially in no contest. It wasn't his. A loss is a loss, and not a loss is a loss. If you get done for cheating, you're cheating. That's it. You've lost the fight. You've got to allow the person to come back.
Yeah, fucking Matt Riddle. I don't know if I suspect a conspiracy here, or if he's just really stupid. I mean, what? He can't fucking pass a drug. All you got to do is just stop smoking at least a week before. At least a week. He's already going to be dehydrating himself, flushing himself out. It's not that fucking hard. This is the easiest drug test to pass. Trust me. Look, I'm flying fucking drones over Africa, man. I get tested all the time. I can pass that shit no problem. You know what I'm saying? Matt Riddle, you got to get it together. You were going to be a millionaire. You were going to make $1 million this coming year. Now you're going to be a sandwich artist. It's not that hard to pass the weed test, man. You just get your shit together. Just to hit those fluids nonstop, clean yourself out, whatever. You know, there's so many fucking tricks to get around this. I don't know what happened. Maybe he did stop smoking, but you gotta also stop hanging around your pot smoking friends. All right, if they're all just smoking in the same room playing video games, you're gonna be breathing that shit in, Matt Riddle. He's just, what the fuck happened to this kid? Hopefully he'll be back. I don't know. He was a good guy.
The rules are the rules, aren't they? There's a lot of debate about whether marijuana is a performance-enhancing drug, but funnily enough, I spoke to Chris Clements last week, who, of course, he was the guy who got caught in the arm triangle choke and lost to Matt Riddle in the first fight, and he said, you know, it is a performance-enhancing drug, and he said the reason it is because, you know, it helps you with your nerves, it helps you sleep at night, it helps you do things like that. So they're all the things that, as a fighter, are difficult to do, especially in the build-up to a fight. He said if marijuana is legal, I can use that as well, and it can help me sleep, and it can help me with my nerves. But I don't get to do that. I have to deal with it a natural way. And in a way, yeah, I can see where he was coming from. It gives him an unfair advantage. It's a shame because Matt Riddle's a good fighter and he's exciting to watch and he's a good character. But he's one of these people that is his own worst enemy. You know, he's being given a huge opportunity with the UFC and he needs to make the most of it. And unfortunately, he hasn't.
I think Matt Riddle getting cut for having marijuana metabolites, because if I'm not mistaken, this is just metabolites that we're talking about. We're talking about metabolites. I mean, come on now. We're not talking about delta tetrahydrocannabinol, the most prevalent active ingredient of marijuana. We're talking about marijuana metabolites, something that is just been broken down by the body that is not the actual active substance itself, the actual psychoactive intoxicating factor in marijuana. It is simply a byproduct that shows it has been in your system, not that you're ever under the influence of it. That he had that in his system and was cut is a crock of shit. Should never happen. It should not be against the rules. Not to mention the fact he has his medical marijuana license from the state of Nevada. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, where you've got, no offense, Jay, but you got Thiago Silva, who was popped twice, I believe, for PEDs, legit, like steroids and shit, or, he submitted a fucking horse urine sample or some bullshit, and, little Matt Riddle smoked some weed so he can sleep at night. You know, what the fuck is the big deal? If you're having trouble sleeping, I mean, fuck, do whatever you can, but saying that smoking weed so you can sleep is a performance-enhancing drug, that's ridiculous. That's like saying not smoking cigarettes is a performance-enhancing drug because you have more oxygen in your blood. Like, it's fucking asinine. Matt Riddle, I was hoping his pro debut was in the UFC. Every single fight he's had was in the UFC. I was hoping his whole career would be in the UFC. It's a fucking travesty. It's not going to be that way.
Well, I'm not going to get into whether marijuana does affect, how you perform, whether it's recovery on the day of. None of that. You guys have made good points, Ramses and Patrick. I myself, smoke marijuana, and for anyone to say that you would have an advantage stepping in the cage high or even, weeks after stopping is ridiculous and asinine. But having been a two-time member of, medicinal cannabis, I can tell you where Matt Riddle went wrong. It's really simple. You can actually get certified 100% with marijuana if you go the state government route. You're going to spend about $600, $700. They're going to do medicals. You're going to have tests done on you, background checks, and you can actually get credentialed for medicinal marijuana for about $600. That's what Nick Diaz did. Matt Riddle showed his license on the internet, and I can tell you right now, what he had was a doctor's recommendation. Now, all that says that a doctor recommends that you are fit for medicinal use, and it's a loophole to where you can get marijuana. But as far as the athletic commission is concerned, you have not been fully credentialed to, use medicinal marijuana. That's the difference, and I'm going to leave it at that. Should he have been cut? The athletic commissions have done everything in their power. They fucked up before, but they're not out of their legal obligations to pop him for it.
For sure. Yeah. I like Patrick's Allen Iverson impression. We ain't talking about steroids. We talking about weed. Not steroids. We talking about weed. All right. Ramon Dekkers sadly dies at 43 years old. I was introduced to him just probably a year and a half ago. Chris sent me a highlight tape of him, and it was maybe the craziest combat highlight tape I've ever seen. He put it to people in that, Thai kickboxing setting, and really is he's up there in my mind with Anderson Silva as far as the way he would dominate guys. Where do you all put Ramon Dekkers in your mind as far as combat sports history goes?
Man, I'm not even going to make shit up. I had never heard of Ramon Dekkers until I heard he was dead at 43. I have no idea who this person is. I have no idea what he contributed to the sport. So I'll just keep it short. I won't even, no need to disrespect. I just have no idea who this guy is. Whatever God he believes in, may that God rest his soul and forgive him.
It's always sad to see someone die, but I'll be honest, I don't know who he is either. I'm a fan of MMA, I'm a fan of mixed martial arts. I've never really been interested in boxing, kickboxing or Thai boxing, so I'm afraid I'm ignorant to it as well.
I got to agree. I can't front. I did not know who he was. I was looking at his Wikipedia right now. He was 0-1 in MMA, one submission loss. I believe it looked like it was at a private New Year's Eve event. Pretty extensive kickboxing record, though. Looks like he fought some good names. But yeah, like Ramses and Ray, I did not know who he was until I heard he passed. So, hey, rest in peace.
This is a sad memorial here.
Damn, nobody knows who this man is. Jay, do you know who he is?
Yes, I do. I'm a big kickboxing fan. I've been kickboxing for about, 6 years maybe now. Of course, I know his name is. And for you guys who don't know, he was fighting for about 20-odd years. I think it might have actually been 20 years, fighting between multiple divisions. His record is ecstatic. However, I don't think you can quite compare him to Anderson Silva personally. I wouldn't put him at that sort of level. He did have quite a lot of losses. He didn't get that many finishes, and of course, kickboxing is harder to get finishes as, like boxing is, your chin. It's a sport where it is about chin and about power and about technique. It's not just about any aspect. So he's definitely up there. I don't know what. I would have to sit down and work out. I wouldn't put him at the level of Anderson Silva. He was, however, a fantastic competitor, and at the age of 43, it's sad to see him pass.
It really was someone who was in really good shape. Definitely, when you've got a moment, look up Ramon the Diamond Dekkers highlight tape, and you will see what happens. Chris is having some internet issues, so he's dropping out. If he's able to get back on, he will rejoin us. We will move on. Just a few more news topics to get to that we'll try and fly through before Bonehead of the Week. Alistair Overeem apparently had low testosterone levels at UFC 156, and now we've found out what the exact level is, and it's dangerously low for somebody in a combat sport like him. Should Alistair Overeem be allowed to take TRT? I think he should. The fact that he has these low levels shows that, I don't care if he juiced to the gills in the past. If you have low testosterone, you should be able to take TRT. You should not be punished for mistakes you made in the past for the rest of your life. What do you think? Who's talking after me, Ray?
Me, yeah. TRT is such a dubious subject. There's people that think that if you can't get your own TRT, you shouldn't be fighting. So is the question, should he be allowed to have it? Should he be allowed to fight? I've never really understood the whole TRT thing. I've never understood. You say dangerously low. What can happen if it's low? Does it kill you? I don't know. I don't know what the consequences are of it being low.
You turn into a woman, like on Beowulf.
Alistair Overeem would be one ugly woman.
You get your ass knocked out by Bigfoot. That's what happens.
I'd tap that.
No, you wouldn't.
Ramses or whoever is after Ray?
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if my man Ray had concluded there. Yeah, you know what? I'm not a doctor, but I know some things about some things, and I know that the human body, when you start using something, whatever it is, if you start introducing something to your body that your body already makes in order to supplement it, if you wear eyeglasses because you can't see, the moment you start using eyeglasses, you're going to start losing your vision quicker and quicker because you're using it as some sort of crutch for your body instead of letting your body work for itself. So if you start using testosterone and start fucking juicing to the gills like my man Overeem was fucking pissing hot prior to the JDS fight, which is why that got scrapped in the first place, your body can't make it. After a certain point, your body won't be able to make it without that outside source, unless Overeem has some sort of outside condition, which I don't think is the case because I don't think he'd get to be as huge as he was in the first place. If it was like a pre-existing medical condition, he needs TRT because this is what he's done to himself. And that's just my opinion.
Well, sorry, I started talking to the mute button there. I think Patrick actually hit it on the head there. If you start taking it, your body stops producing it. It's as simple as that. And he's been doing it for such a long time now that his body has, now that he finally has been taken off it, it's dangerously low levels. So that's what happens. And no, you shouldn't be able to take it. I mean, in the future, I don't think anybody should be able to take it, so they'll never begin with taking it in the first place, so they'll never reach these levels he's at. So it's all his own undoing, and he should be punished for it by either quitting as a fighter or looking at other ways to get around it. There are other ways, he just isn't smart enough to do so.
I'm sorry, Jay. I have to disagree, man. You have to let the juice loose. All right, guys, they're trying to regulate it right now, crack down, but nobody understands it, just like Ray's trying to tell you guys. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on, and here we have our first dilemma. Overeem, he's failed the previous fucking test for it. He's popped dirty. He's pissed hot, man. But then this fight, he's actually under. It's actually, quote, dangerously low, his levels of testosterone. So now he actually turns out to need this shit. I mean, goddamn, if you can't see a giant like Bigfoot with his lumbering slow punches coming at you, dude, there's something wrong. Yeah, sure, Overeem still came in looking like the Incredible Hulk. But look, if some doctor with a degree is saying that his TRT, his testosterone levels are low, I say let's let him juice up, man. It's time to just let it loose. You can't regulate this shit anyway. Everyone's doing it, or everyone's they're not getting caught with it, but they're all doing it, man. Everybody's taking enhancements. That's just the way it goes. Let's just let the cream rise to the top here. Leave guys like Overeem alone. He didn't know back in the day, all right? Nobody knows what the rules are even now, so I can't blame anybody. Let the juice loose.
Let the juice loose. A lot of guys linked with taking TRT performance enhancers. Two guys who have not been are Benson Henderson and George St. Pierre. Benson Henderson apparently asked for a super fight with George St. Pierre, which Dana White declined. A lot of people saying Benson deserved it. You know, I have Benson in my top 5 pound for pound. I have him in my top 4. I've got him, or wait, no, I have him 5th, yeah. I have him 5th after Aldo Jones, Anderson, and GSP. But I do agree with Dana White. I don't think he deserves it. When you look at it, he's only fought 2 different guys in UFC championship fights. He fought Frankie Edgar twice and Nate Diaz. That's it. GSP has defended his belt, I don't even know, 7 or 8 times now. Benson still needs a little bit more time in that role. You know, he actually just won the UFC championship almost exactly a year ago. He took the belt from Frankie February 26th, defended it in August, and then again in December, all those fights in 2012. He's been the champion for 1 year and 2 days. You need more time with the belt before you get super fights. But I do think that he's going to beat everyone they throw him his way, including Jose Aldo at 155. And I think in another year that super fight against George St. Pierre makes a lot more sense and is a lot more compelling.
Well, you have a lot of good points there, Jake. It's interesting. I mean, I completely agree with you on just about everything you said. Benson Henderson, he needs to put in that time, and that's kind of the sad part because, you know, you look at the career angles, you graph that on a line chart, and you see where everybody's going. GSP, granted, he's still the champion. He's still dominating, but he's getting older in this fight game. You do not get better in combat sports as age goes on. That's bullshit. You know, in 99.99% of the case, you take more damage, you take more hits, be it in fucking fights or sparring, whatever it is. And GSP, he's on his way down on that line graph. You know, maybe if Frankie Edgar hadn't, you know, had his part in this log jam, I mean, it's not all Frankie's fault, but there was a fucking title log jam for, like, about 3 years there, where Frankie Edgar was just rematching everybody. You've got 1.5 million contenders at 155 pounds. Benson, he's got work to do. I'd like to see the fight against GSP, but yeah, that's not going to happen, and I don't feel entirely bad. We need this title log jam at 155 pounds to stop.
I think it was a tactical move on the behalf of Benson Henderson, in my opinion. I don't think the fight ever will happen, and I don't think it should happen. Benson will come in underweight, which will make the fight a bit stupid. But right now, you know, you look at that welterweight division, and GSP's been out for so long, and he's got Silva calling him out. He's fighting Condit. He's fighting Diaz. He's still going to fight Hendricks. There's Safadine, who's got a belt. There's so many people on that list. You may as well, if you were anybody in the lightweight division, you may as well say, "Oh, I'll fight him," because you never will. It's just a cheeky stab. He's got enough to deal with on his plate, and then you're just kind of mocking him. Fighters are mocking him, saying, "Oh, why don't you fight me?" And the Hendricks is like, "Well, no, because I've earned my shot, and there's no way I see Benson Henderson beating GSP, and I don't want to see that fight happen."
Yeah, Benson Henderson, man, I'm tired of his ass. It's time to get him out of there, too. He knows nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares about Benson Henderson. So, yeah, he was just putting this out there, trying to claim he can beat GSP. I don't know if he can or not. A lot of people can beat GSP at this point, but the question that these days is Zuva going to let you beat GSP? The answer is no. So this fight's not going to happen because it would just be too unbelievable. Yeah, and fuck, I don't even think I would buy this on pay-per-view. Benson Henderson versus GSP. Who gives a shit? That's the word on the street.
I love Benson Henderson, but the fight doesn't really make sense because GSP...
Is everybody else there? I think Ray dropped out. There we go. We are back. Ray, sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying about the fight.
Okay, I was saying I'm a big fan of Benson Henderson. And I love watching his fights, but there's enough people for him to fight at lightweight. A fight with GSP doesn't really make any sense. GSP's too big, and he'd be able to control Benson too much. He'd literally shut him down. And with the talk of Aldo going up to lightweight, I think Aldo versus Benson Henderson is a much more intriguing matchup than Benson Henderson versus George St. Pierre. That's just my opinion.
Very true, very true. And that brings us to our next bit of news. Ramses, your boy, Chael Sonnen, apparently suing the Mean Street Pizza business partner for embezzlement, saying that there's money out there that he illegally took from the company for himself. Do you think this is going to distract him in his fight versus John Jones? Really, I would not have chosen this as a news topic, but I just want to hear Ramses' take on Sonnen having a falling out with his business partner. But for everyone else, do you think it'll distract him? I don't think it will. He's had lots of crazy stuff go on in the build-ups to fights. You know, he was stripped of his realtor license before his first Silva fight, I think, and that was the performance of his career. So no, I don't think it will. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'll just say this here. Will it distract Sonnen, this whole business with the Mean Street ex-manager, ex-owner, ex-business partner? No, of course not. Look, that's because I I'm just gonna say this now. I'm glad this isn't being recorded or broadcasted live. I just want to say I did talk to Son and I calmed him down or whatever. He was ready to send in some goons and just burn down the Mean Street Pizza joint and just collect the money, the insurance money or whatever, the payout. But I talked him down. I was like, look, man, just this guy screwed you over. Just take him to court. Do things the fucking legit way, you know. He's trying to embezzle money, whatever. It all come clean. They won't even know about the backroom poker games and the money washing that's going on. They won't even care about that. Let's just get this guy the clean way. And so, yeah, he's taking him to court. It's sad that it got out in the papers. That's the only reason I'm openly speaking about it. But, you know, things could have gotten a lot worse for this business partner. But he got lucky. He's going to live, and he's just going to lose everything he has and owns and cares about.
Oh, shit. Anyone else have any thoughts on that before we move on?
No.
Nope. All right. One more bit of news. We'll skip the last couple, but one more bit of news, which I really did want to talk about. Anderson Silva wanting a catch weight of 192 pounds against John Jones. I do not agree at all. You think, all right, 192, that's 13 pounds from where John Jones fights. That's 7 pounds from where Anderson Silva fights. It's literally twice as close to Anderson's division. And we've seen Anderson fight at 205. John Jones is a big guy. He's literally got the biggest reach in the UFC, including guys who fight at 265 pounds. It is absurd to ask John Jones to fight under 200 pounds. I would say the least amount we would see John Jones at is maybe 198 or 199. But after that, asking John Jones, I mean, you've seen him during the weigh-ins. He has never looked at all flabby at a weigh-in. To ask him to lose another 13 pounds before fighting the greatest fighter of all time, I don't agree with that whatsoever. What do you guys think, Jay?
I think it's interesting that he's calling for the fight below the weight class, but I don't really think the fight will take place. I don't think there's a reason for the fight to take place. If you're going to step up, I don't think you have to fight the champion. I think that's why he's done it. He stepped up to save the UFC on the Bonner fight. He stepped up to test himself against the former champion, and that was Forrest Griffin, who does have holes in his game, and he fought Irvin, who was just at the top. Irvin was a guy who had legit power, and he dropped bombs against people. He has fought these people for a reason. I don't think there's any reason why this fight will take place. You fight your division unless you're going to step up for fun. There's nothing to say this fight has to happen, and if it does, then the catch weight is probably the right thing, but I think 195 is fair, personally.
Anderson Silva is a pussy. All right, guys. And I'll just close with one more sentence. Actually, it's a question. Do you think Chael Sonnen would have to agree on a weight to fight John Jones? Period.
It seems like more games and more ducking. It's a lot to ask a big guy to cut even more weight. We know Silva can make 205 because he's fought at 205 before. I think he's just dragging out the whole issue. He doesn't want to fight Weidman. He doesn't want to fight Jones. He just wants to he seems to want to handpick his opponents, and I know that's been said before. But 195 would be the middleweight, the middle rate between the two, which is what Jay said, which makes sense. But even that's going to be when you talk about John Jones having no fat on him and having to cut 10 pounds, that's a lot. So I think if he's going to do it, they should fight at 205 and leave it at that.
I don't even understand Anderson Silva half the times. I wonder maybe if that's why he's one of the greatest fighters to ever live. It's just some of the shit that comes from out of his camp. Like, are you fucking kidding me? He fought a used to the gills Stephan Bonner. I mean, he was coming in just peaking, just roided out of his mind in Brazil, and he fucking handled him. He just fucking took him out to the trash. It was ridiculous. Why would you play these games and say cut to 192 pounds? Like, that's a fucking joke. John Jones is going up to heavyweight, probably sooner rather than later. He's got a few fights left at light heavyweight. It's insane. I don't understand it. I think Anderson Silva why were you even taking fights? I mean, I guess, it had been said just to save the company. That's the only reason he went up there. I guess that makes sense. But you just fight for the fucking title. Go kill John Jones. It'd be awesome. I believe Anderson Silva would handle him.
All right, and that brings us to the Bonehead of the Week. We were going to talk about a little bit of Johnny Hendricks and Jose Aldo, Anthony Pettis action, but with both of those fights way out, we got plenty of time to talk about that. Looking forward to Aldo Pettis in August. Looking forward to Diaz GSP. Hendricks says GSP's scared. I think it's just a money thing like it always is. It always comes down to the dollar bills. Bonehead of the Week. Everybody ready?
Let's do it.
Alright, Bonehead of the Week. I'm a big fan of Matt Riddle. I know a lot of people who give him a lot of hate. I love Matt. Seems like an honest guy in interviews, which I really like. Smokes copious amounts of the devil's lettuce, which is always good. But unfortunately, he's my bonehead this week. Matt, come on. I understood you quit three weeks out, but I'm in the same boat as you now. I'm looking for a job, and I know that I've got to be a month out to test clean. You can't be doing this 3-week thing, and I know you're probably pounding water, really physically active. He said he's done 3 weeks before, or said he usually does 2 weeks and cut and stops. This time he did 3 weeks. I don't know why he did 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks. He probably just did 2 weeks again. You can't be doing 2 weeks again to think you're going to test clean, especially the same year you already failed a drug test. You're my bonehead.
My bonehead is like a split bonehead. It's Tor Trump or Tor the Hammer and JG. Because we all believe the hype that they told us. Tor is the one that is scaring everyone in the house. Tor is the one that is the police in the hospital. Not your rival, Tor. And then he comes out there like a wet blanket, and he's silent but he's going to be deadly. He was silent and he was rubbish. I mean, he said he got caught with a punch. He was backing up to the cage and the other guy was coming forward throwing punches. That's why he got caught. So yeah, my bonehead of the week is Tor Trung stroke J Jeans.
Damn. The one thing I'm going to say is Tor Trung got further than you ever did in The Ultimate Fighter. Right, my pick for Bonehead of the Week is King Mo. He came out as a cocky ass bitch, I'm going to say bitch. Came out there, thought he was the king of the world, and things happen. Anything can happen at any stage in MMA. He left his hands down. He got all confident. He thought he was Floyd Mayweather. He left his hands down. He got smacked in the face with a spinning back fist. For that reason, he is my bonehead of the week.
I gotta go with Dan Hendo Henderson as my bonehead of the week. Bone. He had the speed of a disgruntled postal worker. I don't want to call him a bum, but if I saw him on the corner of an Austin freeway with just a cup of change in his hand, I would just nod my head and be like, yeah, that makes sense to me. And then I would spit on him and drive away. Dan Henderson. You know how people say Anderson Silva fights like he's in the Matrix? Well, fucking Hendo, he fights like he's in the Matrix. It's like trying to run the Matrix on a Windows 95 computer with 2 megabytes of RAM. He's finished. It's all over. Henderson, retire now. Don't fight again, man, because the next time you're just going to look even worse. You broke-handed bum. Word on the street.
Matt, my first Windows 95 computer had at least 16 megabytes of RAM. I remember that shit. And a 1 gigabyte drive. That's the nerd word on the street. But my bonehead of the week, that's got to be Jose Aldo. First, there was all this talk coming out of his camp. He doesn't want to fight Anthony Pettis after the fight was supposed to be on because all of a sudden now they realize he's never fought at featherweight and he doesn't deserve a shot. But then once he's offered a shot at the light heavyweight title, if he beats Anthony Pettis, then the fight is on. I mean, I'm sure there's some money involved in this and that, but as soon as your fight gets the same stipulations that you were bitching about, then you take it. Like, what's the point? I mean,
Powerful.
I don't know. And now, apparently it's interesting because I could have sworn I also seen that Dana White said that if Jose Aldo goes to lightweight, he's staying at lightweight. So,
Yep.
all the punks and Korean Zombie supporters, you know, if Pettis were to lose to Jose Aldo, and Jose Aldo were to beat Benson Henderson, Benson Henderson, yeah, there'd be a lot of butthurt 145-pound fans out there. So Jose Aldo, bonehead of the week.
Yep.
Good son.
I fucking see exactly where you're coming from. Ramses had my favorite breakdown of Bonehead of the Week. I really want to give Henderson a point for that Matrix metaphor, but it's got to go to King Mo. Just because that performance he put down at Bellator was horrible. You would think just days after Alistair Overeem put forth the biggest example in MMA history of why not to put your arms down, you wouldn't put your arms down. But that's what King Mo did, and he is my bone.
My vote's going to go to the man who had it all in his hands and he threw it all away, which is got to be Matt Riddle.
I would love to go for myself in Ray's pick. However, I'd love to see somebody on this show eventually winning the Bonehead of the Week. However, there is one point I'd like to bring up, and that's I would never vote for Ramses' Dan Henderson. I feel that fight was good still. Maybe I should be the bonehead for thinking that was the fight. But screw it. I'm going to go with Ray picking me. Go on.
Yep, I mean, after that, how can you argue? Ray, Tortrong / J, Bonehead.
I will go ahead and I will vote Tortrong as well.
Tortrong, our winner of this week's Bone, which brings us to UFC on Fuel 8. We got 6 fights to break down. Ray will be with us for another 10 minutes, so if we reach a point where you gotta sign off, we'll just let you give your quick picks for the rest of them, and then shout out MMA Mental and dip out. But we'll start with the welterweights. Dong Young Kim, someone with stellar judo who's been impressing since being in the UFC, and CR Bahadurzada, who only one UFC fight, an early knockout against Thiago Tavares, stepping up, looking to keep knocking people out. CR Bahadurzada off the mean streets of Kabul, Afghanistan. What do you guys see going down in this? I'll, instead of jumping in, I'll let you all break it down first and then jump in.
I like Bahadurzada in this. I believe it was Paulo Thiago that he knocked out down there in Rio, or somewhere in Brazil. It was actually, I don't even know the venue, but yeah, Bahadurzada.
It was Sweden.
Sweden, there we go. Complete different hemisphere and continent. Anyways, yeah, it was a good fight though. Lasted about 30 seconds. Hopefully that's about how long this one lasts. I'm hoping Bahadurzada just cranks Dong Hyun Kim and just flattens him with another first round knockout.
One thing everybody has got to remember about this fight is CR is fighting out of the Black Zillions. Unfortunately, for that reason alone, I think Stone Cold's going to get a decision.
Well, this is a rough call to make. This thing's taking place in Japan. I'm going to go with the Asian. I'm going to go with Yum Yum Kim. Yeah, Yum Yum Kim. That's all I got to say.
Yum Yum Kim, cocksucker.
This feels pretty straightforward to me. I think Kim will get in there and use his grapple and take him down, keep control of him. We know CR's got power, but we haven't seen how good his takedown defense is yet, and Kim's all about the takedown. So my gut instinct is Dong Hyun Kim for UD.
Most people picking Kim with the UD. I'm going to go with the second round CR knockout. Kim showed that he doesn't exactly have a granite chin. kind of miscalculated the spacing he had against Carlos Condit before Condit jumped in with that flying knee. I don't think CR is going to be able to be as dynamic a striker as Carlos Condit, but, Kim's proved that he every now and then lets that big strike slip through, and if it does, he's out, and that's how I see this fight ending. Featherweight bout, probably the bout of the least title significance on this card. Mizuto Hirota facing Hani Yaya, Yum Yum Kim. We got a bunch of names that Joey Diaz loves to pronounce on this weekend's card. Who do you guys have? This is really tough. Mizuto Hirota is obviously a really good Japanese fighter. He's lost his last fight, but that was against Pat Healy in Strikeforce. You look at his record; he doesn't have wins against really anybody of significance. You look at Ronnie Yaya's record; he does have a few wins. He has a win against Eddie Wineland in 2009 at the WEC. Just he all around has beaten better guys. I can name 5 guys that Ronnie Yaya has defeated that are all better than the best person Hirota's defeated, and just for that alone, I know it's kind of cockneyed MMA math, but yeah, I'll take Hani Yaya cocksucker.
It would be Jay.
Bon. Jay, you there? Ramsey's jump in for him.
All right. Well, yeah, this is a rough call. This card takes place in Japan, so I will go with the Asian Yum Hirota. Word on the street.
Jay, you can jump in now because you were talking to your muted mic.
Yeah, that was probably the worst case ever. I didn't even realise until you guys started talking. I'm going to go with the upset of Hirota, and I actually thought that when I said that Ramses decided to start calling me a bonehead again, so I was thinking, oh, here we go again. But yeah, I'm going with Hirota. He should be bigger because this is his first time at 145. He's got good sprawl and brawl. Yaya hasn't got I don't think his submission skills are anywhere near as good as Naoki's the only guy to submit.
Jay, you're cutting in and out. Is he cutting in and out for you guys too?
Yeah.
It's a mess.
All right. Yep. It's a mess. We'll move on. Patrick?
It's a massacre. Oh, fuck. You know what? I think, this is a tough one just for the simple fact I haven't seen Mizuto Hirota. I have not seen this guy fight. Ronnie Yaya, I know he's looked a lot better than I remember him being in the WEC. He's done pretty well for himself in the UFC. I'm going to go with Ronnie Yaya.
This is obviously Ronnie Yaya is a great grappler, and I think most of you agree. If he gets Hirota down, he's probably going to submit Hirota. I don't know a lot about Hirota, and I've been listening to what other people are saying to make my decision. And from what I gather, Hirota has faced better grapplers than Ronnie Yaya and has kept the fight standard and has beaten them. So for that reason, I'm going for Hirota to do the same and get a unanimous decision win. But for me, this fight really is a coin flip.
Indeed. That brings us to a middleweight bout between Yushin Okami and Hector Lombard. Personally, my favorite fight on the card. Two high-level judo players. This is kind of a coin flip for me too. I could see Okami really grinding Lombard out to a unanimous decision. He has more UFC experience. I think he's a better judokan by a hair. But Hector Lombard and Yushin does have a better gas tank too, so the longer the fight goes, the better for Yushin. On Hector's side, he's extremely strong, and that paired with his judo ability might be able to sort of counterbalance Yushin Okami's judo abilities to kind of make the fight a standing up fight, and if Hector Lombard can turn this into a boxing match, he'll knock out Okami, and that's what I'm hoping happens. So that will be my pick. What do you guys think?
Oh man, whoa, what's going on? Oh, sorry, I apologize, Jay.
It's alright, no worries at all. This is my most confident pick on the card. I'm picking Okami. I'm picking Lombard to knock out Okami. I don't see really any way Lombard loses this fight unless he pulls the Tim Boach fight. I think Lombard's got a better power, and if he wants to swarm Akami's going to have issues. I think Hector Lombard might be the most powerful puncher in the middleweight division. I mean, Anderson Silva's more of a pinpoint striker. Then you've got Tim Boach, who had that one-off spurt. And all Lombard has to do is get inside the land. And Akami will be questioning what's going on. I'm picking Lombard. Even if this does turn into a grappling match, then I'm still going for Lombard, using his judo to keep it standing. And yeah, Akami, I see no way on earth right now, no way on earth Lombard walks out with a loss. He's going to hurt Akami.
Oh, man, this is a rough call. This fight's going down in Japan? So I'm going to go with the Asian. I'm going to go with Yum Yum Okami, word on the street.
I see Lombard keeping this fight standing. I mean, we know what Akami's about. He's going to try and take Lombard down. Lombard has got his judo base. We've seen recently how effective judo is. There's a few really good judo practitioners now in MMA. Obviously, Ronda Rousey stands out. We've seen Rick Horn in Bellator, also until he faced Michael Chandler. But yeah, I think Lombard keeps his fight standing. If he keeps his fight standing, Akami doesn't have the power Lombard does. Lombard will blast through Akami.
You know, I was initially just gung-ho, Lombard fucking number one knockout all the way. Now I'm kind of rethinking that. I'm definitely gonna have to check the weigh-ins on this, just because Okami, he's been known to pop that jab a lot. He may be able to keep Lombard at distance, because let's not forget, Lombard's like 5'8" at 185, and Okami, he is, I want to say, at least 6 even. So stature-wise, he's going to have the length in striking at least. However, it's been mentioned their judo games. Lombard with his lower center of gravity, hey, he could probably stop the takedown. So who knows? But initially, I'll say Lombard round one knockout.
All right, and it is getting late over in the UK, 2 a.m. Ray's dipping off. Ray, we'll let Patrick plug MMA Mental at the end of the show, but really quickly before we let you go, and give us your picks, lightweight bout, Takanori Gomi, Diego Sanchez, who you got?
I see Sanchez working for the takedown and taking Gomi down. I've seen Gomi struggle on the ground before. I think Sanchez will be aggressive and I think get a submission.
All right, heavyweight bout, one of the widest fighters in the UFC, Mark Hunt, against one of the tallest fighters in the UFC, Stefan Struve. Maybe the widest versus the tallest, straight out. Who you got?
Well, Hunt's a beast. If Hunt keeps his fight down, he can knock anybody out. But Struve's been fighting smart recently. I've seen him pull guard. He's very effective. And Hunt on the ground he's terrible on the ground. So I see Struve getting Hunt down and winning by submission. I think it's Struve's time.
And finally, we got the main event, Vanderlei the Axe Murder Silva against Brian the All-American Stan.
I think Brian the All-American Stan is going to Axe Murder the Silva. I think Silva is a spent force. You know, he's had some amazing fights. Stan's power is frightening. And I've seen Stan annihilate people that have annihilated Silva, and straight away Chris Lieben jumps to mind. So yeah, I've got Brian Stan. First time he lands a punch, I think Silva will be gone.
All right, Ray, as always, thank you for coming on the show. We always appreciate hearing from you. Until next week, I guess, take it easy and keep on making us proud over there, man. You're making huge moves with MMA Mental.
Thank you. Well, I'll be back next week as always. Cheerio.
Take it easy, buddy.
See you later, Ray.
And that
he's got the endurance of Dan Henderson as far as podcasts go.
Oh shit! So Chris would be like Shane Corwin, and Ray would be like Dan Henderson, and then the remaining four of us would be like Nick Diaz.
He's damn right, son.
Damn fucking right. Brings us to the last three fights at UFC on Fuel 8. Lightweight bout, Takanori Gomi, Diego Sanchez. Diego Sanchez returning to 155 pounds after BJ Penn split his head open into two different pieces back in December 2010, or may have even been 09. Yeah, I think that was 09. returning to the lightweight division to take on Takanori Gomi, the Fireball Kid. Who you got? I have Diego Sanchez. I think a lot of people still sleep on this kid. People don't realize that, you know, you look at the last few guys he's fought. Who has he fought? Jake Ellenberger and Martin Kampmann in 2 extremely close fights. I mean, his last 3 fights have all been fight of the night. Paulo Thiago, Martin Kampmann, Jake Ellenberger. I'll give you Paulo Thiago isn't the cream of the crop in the welterweight division, but Martin Kampmann and Jake Ellenberger are both top 10 guys, and to have fight of the night against either one of those, that is a testament. I think he's going to come in here, and I think we're going to see the first Diego Sanchez victory finish in the UFC since 2008, since TKOing Luigi Fioravanti. Since then, he's fought 7 times to 6 decisions. I think we're finally going to see a finish here.
Oh, man, this is a rough call. What is this fight going down in Japan? I'm going to go with the Asian. I'll take Yum Yum Gomi. Word on the street.
Solid pick, Ramses. And Jake, sir, God damn it, I could drive from Cali to Florida just to fucking slap you in the face for saying that Diego Sanchez versus Martin Kampmann was a close fight. Kampmann won that fight. Kampmann won, damn it.
It was close. I do agree that Kampmann won, and I didn't say I think Sanchez won, but I think it was a close fight.
Oh, God damn it. I'm sorry. I created a Twitter account, just a Twitter bomb Dana, and say he's a fucking idiot for saying that was a fucking that Diego Sanchez deserved to win that fight. I'm sorry. It just brings up bad memories. Anyways, back to the matter at hand. Diego Sanchez back at 155 against Takanori Gomi. He's been on this losing streak. Gomi's on the winning streak. It's in Japan. Goddamn, I'm going with Gomi as well.
This fight is interesting in the way that Gomi has proven that he has got some takedown defense against another Japanese person. That doesn't really say a lot, in my opinion. Sanchez is going to get inside and pressure Gomi like nobody really has. And I think Gomi's footwork isn't going to benefit him in the cage. It might do in a ring, but I reckon he's going to get inside and be able to take him down. And once he's on the ground, he's going to do it like he did in TUF, pound the back until he gives up.
Up. Back to me. Yes, it is. Sorry, I'm not ready. With only 3 other dudes talking. Heavyweight bout, Mark Hunt, Stefan Struve. Who you got? I got Stefan Struve. He's looked very good. Mark Hunt, people were saying that he deserved a title shot a while ago. I couldn't disagree more with all those people. Stefan Struve's on a tear after losing to Travis Brown in the middle of 2011. He's beaten Pat Barry, Dave Herman, LeVar Johnson, and Stipe Miocic. Man, I don't know why I'm burping so much. Back to back. Mark Hunt, you know, he's also won 3 straight, but against 3 much less impressive opponents. And when I look at them, you know, they're both very good fighters, and I do think both of them deserve to be in the UFC heavyweight division. But one guy's 5'10", the other guy's nearly 7 feet tall. Stefan Struve isn't going to have too much of a problem putting away Mark Hunt via submission. Via submission. You look at Hunt's record, 6 of his 7 losses are by submission, about to be 7 of 8. Sean McCorkle fucking tapped him. Come on, son.
Damn. Yeah, that's some rough shit. I mean, I want to pick Mark Hunt. Jesus, I want to pick Mark Hunt. We've seen guys go upstairs and touch that chin. Roy Nelson did it. He's roughly the same size as Mark Hunt. That was like a fucking Street Fighter 2 Ryu Hadouken fucking dragon punch right there. He had to reach for that chin, but he was able to get inside and do it. Can Mark Hunt do it? Potentially. Struve, he's been improving, but I don't know if he still knows he's 7 feet tall. The kid keeps growing. Who knows if he's even cognizant of his own height. I think Neo was getting inside on him. fuck. I'm gonna have to fucking go with Mark Hunt.
My bad. I think my connection is rubbish. Now I got a new computer. I'm going to go with Struve, but it's an insane fight to try and pick. I think Hunt's got all the skills to win this fight, but right now I'm going to go with Struve. I think anything can happen, and Struve seems to be in these fights as strikers, and it's the best thing for him. Struve's going to pull guard at some stage. He needs to be able to get it to the ground. That's what I think.
This fight is taking place in Japan. This Stefan Struve versus Mark Hunt fight is a freak show for the Japanese people. So they want to see the big, tall, white guy win. That's exactly what's going to happen. Word on the street.
Word on the street. It brings us to our final fight. Vanderlei Silva taking on Brian Stann. Vanderlei Silva and Rampage Jackson. Obviously, two of the most popular non-Japanese fighters in Japanese combat history. Vanderlei Silva probably tops that list, and he will be coming to the Satayama Super Arena to fight Brian Stann, the All-American, in the main event. Man, you know, this is going to be a great fight for the fans. Both dudes love to bang. We know Vanderlei Silva. I have heard so many funny metaphors, matched up to his style of striking. He's been called a tornado, a tsunami. He just brings the heat. Stan also does the same thing. You know, Stan's one of these guys. Not many guys, when they fight Vanderlei Silva, give Vanderlei a chance to knock them out. Usually they'll avoid those flurries of punches. Stan's going to stand in the pocket for those flurries, and that might not be a good thing for him. He's one of my favorite fighters out there. It's so funny, the separation. It's almost like a guy like Carlos Condit or Johnny Hendricks, who just seems like one of the nicest people in the world outside the ring, but you see him in the ring and they just have dead eyes. I want to go for Brian Stann, but I think he's going to be a little too aggressive. He's going to stand in there a little bit too much, and I see Vanderlei Silva getting a first or second round TKO finish. What do you guys think?
You know, I think Brian Stann, he's going to be able to handle this. I know between this fight and the previously mentioned Stefan Struve, Mark Hunt fight, I'm sure my boy Ramses will tell you there's a work on the street. But you know what? For this fight, I think Brian Stann, he's going to pull it out. He's going to reach out, and he's going to fucking handle Vanderlei something fierce. There's a brutal knockout waiting here. Stann, he trains with Jackson's. His wrestling, of course, is not up to snuff. That's not what Vanderlei brings, though. He's bringing hooks. Nothing but hooks. I don't know if I've ever seen Vanderlei throw a punch that wasn't some fucking kind of hook. And Brian Stann, he's been sharpening up that striking. He's working with Greg Jackson. They'll get the game plan. They'll dissect old Vanderlei. And Stann will come in there and he'll just fucking drop a bomb on Vanderlei's face and ruin all the Japanese fans' night. It'll be a round one knockout for the All-American.
You with us, Jay?
Again, I'm loving that mute. The mute, I'm talking to more than you guys at this rate. I really want Vanderlei to take the win here. This feels like one of these fights. I'm only picking Vanderlei because I want it to happen. I guess I've got to reconsider, and I think Stan is going to tag the chin. It will be night, but I really want Vanderlei to win. It's in Japan, which benefits Vanderlei. Stan looks like the only... I really can't say, but I think Stan will win. I just don't want to see it happen. I'm reluctant to admit it.
Jake, cue the music, my man, because this shit's about to get deep here on the MMA podcast.
It's going.
All right, Brian Stann versus Vanderlei Silva. Listen, guys, this fight, like I've been saying, is taking place in Japan. If you were paying attention, I called every Japanese or Asian fighter on this card to win. You know why? Because that's what the people want to see in Japan. And you know what else they're used to seeing? They're used to seeing works. They love works. MMA should be fucking fake to them. That's what they're accustomed to. So what you're going to see here is Uncle Dana and Zuffa doing their level best to make sure that the main event, Stan versus Vanderlei Silva, is a fucking work. It's already predetermined. Brian Stann, the All-American, is going to take a dive because, you know, Vanderlei Silva, he's from the Pride days. People remember him. They're going to go crazy. Everyone's going to piss themselves over there. They buy panties over there in vending machines. What do you think they're going to do when Silva knocks out Brian Stan, the All-American? And look, here's the word on the street about Brian Stan, all right? This is a fucking fact here. Brian Stan, the quote, All-American, he's not All-American. He was born in Japan. That's an actual fact. He was born in Japan. He's going back to his homeland. He wants to please his people, all right? We all know where you're from, Brian Stan. The truth is out. It's just been leaked here. So, yeah, he's going to take a dive, put the money on Vanderlei Silva, bet it all. Take it all out of the bank right now and pour it on those online gambling sites. And tell them the word on the street sent you. That's all I have to say.
Damn, word on the street, calling the work. Colin Silva over Stan in Japan to please the fans. And that Silva Stan breakdown is the last topic we're covering tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Anyone have anything else on the Silva Stan fight or anything else before I lead us out?
No.
All
right.
Leave it to your boy.
What was that?
Leave it to your boy. I got to shout out MMA Mental, sir. Doing big things. Courtesy of Ray. He's the captain of the ship, MMA Mental. We got a good show lined up for tomorrow. We got King Couture booked, wife of Randy Couture. We've got Invicta fighter Laura Sanko coming on the show. It's going to be a goodie. Ray's always got all sorts of other guests in the works. Doing big things. Who knows what we're going to see? We do know it's going to be a good one tomorrow, though. And of course, always a pleasure being on the MMA Podcast Roundtable.
Hell yeah. Ramses, what's the word?
Well, if you're tired of sitting at home, jerking off and crying at the same time, you want to just do something productive for once.
I'm not
Get
tired
out
of
there
that yet.
and
Sorry.
All right, well, you will be someday, and you'll come crawling to the word on the street. Follow the Aunt Jimmy Show on Twitter. I talk about everything. I'm about to break some news you won't believe later tonight or possibly next week. You gotta follow me on Twitter and to know when it happens. But this news is gonna change the world, and it affects you personally. Word on the street.
When Jay is not on actual playgrounds looking for young children to solicit, he's on the MMA playground. What's going on with the MMA playground?
I'm damn sure I am, like Ramses said, when you're not tired. But what about whilst you are wanking? What about before you start wanking? You want to be on the MMA playground. That's where we want you, because that's what we're going to talk about with you. We're going to guide you through the process and make sure you have a good time. When you're not doing stuff like that, you can get your picks in on the playground. It's MMAplayground.com. I know I forgot to say earlier, but Patrick is also on there. He also likes to get his picks in because he thinks he's better than us, but he's really not. Jake is on fire at the moment, and fair play to Jake. Yeah, so guys, go to MMAplayground.com and just see how well you guys can handle yourself against those big leagues.
Yeah, I have a reputation of being a really, really horrible pick on the MMA playground, but the last two events, I've been fucking lighting it up. Big thanks again to the listeners. Really, thanks to everybody. All of you come on the roundtable. Ray and Patrick from MMA Mental, you guys are amazing. Jay, I want to caress you sensually. Ramses, you're a fucking god. Buffalo Dave, we miss you. Chris has gone back to Antarctica to herd llamas. But I really, really do genuinely mean every single one of you add a very unique and important and awesome element to the podcast, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You can listen to the MMA Roundtable, this show, every Thursday, 7 to 9 Eastern, midnight to 2 a.m. UK, and 4 to 6 Pacific. And my show, the MMA Podcast, that's every Friday from 9 to 11 Eastern, 6 to 8 Pacific. We haven't had any guests in the last couple weeks, but we're working on a few big ones, namely Joey Coco Diaz, Henzo Gracie, a couple others. Visit themapodcast.com. Follow all of us on Twitter. You can follow me at the MMA Podcast. You can follow Ray at MMA Mental. Ramses is the Aunt Jimmy Show. Patrick is Sweet Pappy Jones. Jay is J_Jeans. Chris is C. Lowenstein, all one word. Dave is Buffalo Dave. And once again, huge thanks to everybody who listens, gives us positive feedback. It means a lot. So, thank you for tuning in. And until next week's roundtable, for Ray, MMA Mental Thompson, for Chris, Best Test in the West, Low, for Ramses Word on the Street, for Patrick, P-Money Johnson, for Jay, Dirty Blue Jeans, for Buffalo Dave Beeland. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. We gone.